From the heat of battle in Afghanistan to the cold of Canada's Arctic,
It's a lot colder than I was expecting.
12 recovering soldiers must fight against the odds, facing brutal winds, frigid temperatures, in a test of human endurance.
It's supposed to be tough.
And courage.
We're all gonna leave our demons on the ice.
We're gonna let it all out and let it die here and hopefully go home a better person.
They are united on an epic quest to reach the magnetic North Pole.
Anything truly worth doing shouldn't be easy.
Resolute Bay, Nunavut, in Canada's Arctic, is one of the coldest inhabited places on Earth.
I think it's beautiful. Never been this far north.
It is here, in this hostile polar desert, where 12 Canadian veterans of the Afghanistan War have journeyed to find peace.
There's a lot of traveling, but let me tell you, I'm happy to be here. You know, the closer you get to the objective, you know it's gonna happen. You know, patience. Now we're here.
These recovering soldiers are uniting with 41 others to tackle the largest expedition of its kind. Skiing over 100 kilometers in only 5 days to reach the magnetic North Pole. Joining them are top business leaders and polar explorers from across the country.
I've been trekking in the Arctic for over 25 years. I've been 7 times full-length expeditions to the North Pole, 60-odd Arctic expeditions. But I've never organized an expedition with 53 skiers in it. The sheer volume of equipment, of food, you know, trying to find 53 sleds, 53 pairs of skis, and it's just a huge, huge preparation.
It's white, it's cold. Get clocked in at negative 31 this morning. But the spirits of everyone are amazing.
This massive undertaking is hosted by the True Patriot Love Foundation, an organization that assists recovering soldiers, especially those suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder.
You got your sunglasses. We've had 30,000 soldiers by rotations generate through Afghanistan. How many people are not in a good space in their lives, and how many families are involved in that discussion?
During the 10-year combat mission in Afghanistan, Canada lost 158 soldiers. Another 635 were wounded in action. Thousands more returned home suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder.
They have weapons.
I am forever changed. Even if you don't come back with an injury, you're a changed person.
The vets have spent months training for the physical demands of the expedition. Now it's the real deal. At this time of year in the far north, the sun never sets. The average daytime temperature is minus 30 degrees Celsius, snapping downwards to minus 50 with wind chill.
How many people get to come this far north in the world? Love it up here.
They only have 3 days in Resolute to acclimatize and test their gear before flying to the trek's starting point 400 kilometers north of Resolute Bay. From here, the team will then traverse a punishing 125 kilometers of tundra and sea ice to reach a recent location of the ever-shifting magnetic North Pole, high above the Arctic Circle on a patch of frozen ocean.
Hi there. How's it going? Good.
See you.
Good to see you. Thank you. Wow, this is Resolute Bay. It's exciting. It's really exciting seeing the sleds out there. Kind of made it very real.
Preparations begin immediately as the team gears up for their first training ski on Arctic ice.
Yeah, your names are on all the sleds.
Okay.
David Quick is leading the soldier team. He is one of Canada's most decorated senior officers. He served in Bosnia, Kosovo, and Afghanistan.
We've got aircraft with eyes on the Taliban in a pickup truck.
He retired in 2014 due to injuries sustained on the battlefield in Afghanistan.
I was injured in April of 2007. I was on a mission The mission actually was aborted based on a number of criteria that weren't met, so we were ordered to withdraw. And my vehicle hit an IED. My face and my chest took the bulk of the blast.
David suffered a traumatic head injury that left him with neurological fallout.
My youngest daughter was about 6 months old. I was in her room making the bed, so I had her in my left arm, and it was a great, kind of dad moment. My arm just went dead, and she rolled off my hands onto the bed. And so she giggled, and although she thought it was funny, I remember her look, and I remember where she was on the bed, like I was blowing up again. I remember all of those pieces because it was traumatic.
Doctors confirmed what David feared, that he was no longer deployable, and his military career was over.
I want to prove to myself that I'm still a soldier, because I hurt, and I want to get through another little task, a feat of strength, to make sure that I'm still good to go.
This expedition is his last chance to lead troops on a mission. One of them shares a heartbreaking connection with him.
David Quick was my husband's officer in command in Afghanistan.
Shauna's husband, Syriac Davies, was the company medic under David Quick's command during the Afghan War.
The health and well-being of hundreds of soldiers was in his hands, and he had a really hard time dealing with the children, the Afghanistan children that were injured, and I think being a father of a toddler at the time himself, and trying to save these little kids' lives, and a lot of the times he wasn't able to, that really, really bothered him.
Soon after his return, Shauna's husband was diagnosed with PTSD.
He was spiraling to a very dark place, and he started kind of self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. It got to the point where he actually tried to take his own life, and while I was busy trying to take care of him and to make him better and take care of the kids, I kind of forgot about a key component of the puzzle being taking care of myself.
Eventually, Shauna developed an anxiety disorder so severe that she was medically released from her job in the military.
And I looked at myself as being weak, as I couldn't handle everything, and because, the end result was me as well being medically released. So that was a tough pill to swallow.
Shauna and David's friendship blossomed as they were both transitioning out of military life.
I was being medically released when I was injured, and she was also being released. And so we just sort of followed the same track later on by being connected at this one point in time.
Now that there's hope and things are looking up, I just want this to be this amazing fresh start to this new section in our life, this new section of our journey.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
David checks in with another recovering Afghan vet as the soldier team prepares to face the elements outside. Bruno Gevremont has lived with PTSD since he returned from a deployment to Afghanistan in 2009.
A good 6 months later on, when all that hype and all the adrenaline starts to shut down, and then your body kind of starts dealing with what you saw and what you did.
As a member of a specialized bomb disposal team in Afghanistan, the horrors Bruno witnessed gave way to severe post-traumatic stress symptoms.
You start blacking out and having flashbacks, not sleeping well, and you don't know. You don't know what's going on. You get angry pretty quick, you're jumpy. Everything is dark. It hurts your entire being. And the only thing that comes up to your mind is to end it.
Fortunately, Bruno has found a lifeline.
Some people can go and sit down and talk about it, and they're good. Talking about it for me was not productive for me. I needed to internally process it. Working out did that for me.
Gonna loosen up the shoulders, okay?
Bruno opened his own gym and now helps other soldiers with PTSD find the same path that helped save his own life.
Now I'm starting to have a normal life that I can cope with my anxiety, but what helps the most is to help others.
Some of the team head off on their first 15-kilometer training ski, while Afghan vet Bjarne Nielsen, a lower limb amputee, works on his specially designed prosthetic limb before he can hit the ice.
Skiing all across Canada with this leg, from Whistler to Owl's Head in Quebec, and you couldn't even tell. If I had my pants on, you wouldn't even know I'm missing a leg.
The plan is for Bjarne to cross-country ski standing up, but his physiotherapist, Patrick, insists on a contingency plan.
He's very competent with the prosthesis. When his skin is in good shape, he can go for miles, right? So we want him to be able to stand ski as much as he can. But in order to do that, we need to have a backup plan.
The plan is a sit-ski rig, which teammates will pull over the ice on the trek when necessary.
Oh, I missed it.
First obstacle.
Less than 100 meters into training, Bjarne's sit-ski topples on the uneven ice.
It's a racing ski, so it's not made for this kind of outback country. And if you look at the skis the team are using, they're not racing skis, so it's not realistic to think that he could sit on one. We'll work around it. And you got to be smarter than the problem.
A solution must be found fast, or Bjarne's expedition will be over before it starts. "53 Canadians are preparing to embark on the largest expedition of its kind in a bid to reach the magnetic North Pole. For Afghan veteran and amputee Bjarne Nielsen, the frozen terrain is proving to be a huge challenge.
His limb is susceptible, like he could bruise himself pretty easily because he does not have that padding on the limb like he has on his right thigh or like you or I have, so.
Yeah, no problem. Whatever.
Bjarne's sunny disposition is anchored by a steely core. This same resilience saved him on the darkest day of his life.
On Canada Day, July 1st, 2010, I was injured in Afghanistan just outside the village of Nakone. I was injured from an improvised explosive device, an IED. I was ejected approximately 17 meters up into the air, up and over a mud wall. I was lying on the ground, and I knew in that moment that if I wasn't positive about my experience, I wouldn't be able to come home and be with my daughter.
Bjarne's fellow soldiers acted quickly, and he was airlifted to a hospital.
I suffered a catastrophic injury. I was amputated 8 inches off from my left leg, split open the entire left side of my torso, separated my shoulder, fractured my humerus, and lost my elbow completely. So if I'm able to go and show all these people, whether you're injured physically, mentally, military, civilian, whatever, if I can set a precedence by leading by example, if you will, I hope I do just that.
But first, Bjarne's sit-ski has to work. They only have 24 hours to figure it out.
Yeah!
Patrick?
Bjarne's physiotherapist scrambles to find a pair of wider skis that could be used to outrig the sled with pontoons.
Yeah, just to give him that extra. Yeah, of course. If we can just give him that extra second, we can just recover, keep going. The main thing is just tips and touches. That's it, and he can just, and he'll correct himself.
Yeah.
They decide on wider skis and added outriggers for further stability. Bjarne's rig, now nicknamed the B-Train, is rushed to the local machine shop for modifications.
Look at that B-Train go. The B-Train.
Meanwhile, inside, the guides divvy up the rations. Each member of the polar team will drag at least 20 kilos of food in their sleds. They'll need to consume at least 5,000 calories per day just to stay adequately nourished in the cold. But the inherent dangers of Arctic temperatures are not the only threat. Richard's dog, Demon, will also join the expedition to keep the polar bears at bay.
So that's why we have the dog.
He's chased polar bears away before.
Just with his bark, he'll send them away.
Well, we were skiing up this valley and the polar bear was coming down. When you saw the bear, you just went, "Arr!" and he just ran right at it. And the bear just took off.
5 hours later, the sit-ski is back. A couple of used snowmobile parts and a lot of ingenuity have done the trick. Bjarne's new rig is now ready for what lies ahead.
Look at this. I'm very impressed, guys. I'm very impressed. Thank you.
Okay, so if you go here.
The B train passes the tipping test and is good to go.
Yeah, I'm happy. Good work, man. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks for all your help. I appreciate it.
7 a.m. the next morning, the team is ready to leave. With the immense scale of the expedition, the full 53-member team needs to be divided into 2 traveling groups. As the first group leaves on the retrofitted vintage DC-3, the second half of the team gets packing.
Now it's for real. Half the crew is already gone out on the ice. Yeah, I'm just ready to and eager to meet up with them and then start getting this stuff underway. Nice to see that B train get loaded up. Oh, this is gonna be good. Saying bye to the B train.
But when the second half of the team arrives at the airport, the weather has quickly changed. Bitter winds have suddenly picked up, and with blowing snow obliterating the pilot's visibility, it's no longer safe to fly.
The rest of us are gonna be returning back to camp and wait till tomorrow morning, and then we'll head out tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Meanwhile, 400 kilometers north of Resolute Bay, the first half of the arriving team is being battered by minus 45 Celsius winds. Alone on the Arctic ice, they struggle to make camp in the vicious cold. A ferocious Arctic storm that greeted the advance team at the Trek start point has left the expedition stalled. 400 kilometers south in Resolute Bay, their teammates remain stuck until the all-clear to fly. This morning, Richard Weber is anxious for good news. He checks in with a remote weather station closest to the team up on the ice.
Is it possible to get a weather report from the guys that are up by Isaacson? She's up at the top end of Bathurst, and the weather is pretty much like here. It's pretty clear, a little bit of wind, that's okay.
This weather delay will cost them.
All right, time to go.
But right now, spirits are high as they finally head towards the Trek starting point.
That's awesome.
An expanse of sea ice 125 kilometers due south of one of the recent locations of the ever-shifting magnetic North Pole.
The landscape, it's endless. Beautiful, beautiful day. I mean, I'm awestruck by how the sun doesn't set, and it's only going to get stronger days and days into our expedition.
When I first got off the plane, I felt like you had stepped into a completely different world.
It's colder up here for sure, yeah.
This is cold.
All right, so far so good. The chair looks awesome.
Their transportation departs, leaving the team on a frozen expanse of ocean ice 4 meters thick. Hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest Inuit community, and thousands of kilometers away from the safety of home.
It was a bit panicky at first when the plane left and the silence set in, and you really realize where you are, and holy moly, this is happening.
But the 53-member team is finally together and ready to start moving.
Yeah, I'm eager to get going.
Today we're gonna rock it.
At 10:30 a.m., they take the first tentative steps of this epic journey. The goal? To reach the magnetic North Pole in 5 days. That means completing 25 kilometers of skiing per day, while collectively pulling thousands of pounds of food and supplies on their sleds. The physical exertion means taking breaks every few hours to refuel and stay hydrated.
Thanks, B. You're welcome.
What I started to realize is how fatigued I was getting in through certain portions of it. My biggest goal is to be able to reach that North Pole, unharmed, not with injury. I may be fatigued, I may feel sore, but I want to be able to make it.
The unyielding ice is even more challenging than anticipated. Bjarne has no choice but to sit ski. With the delayed start, the team only manages to ski 15 kilometers before they stop to set up camp for the night. They will have to make up the lost time tomorrow.
First day came to an end and we're all here. We're feeling a little bit tired, obviously, right?
I gotta keep stretching. It's a long day to be sitting in the chair. Gotta exercise my stump because I've been sitting for so long. Don't want it to get too tight.
The first leg, I was feeling pretty good. The second leg, not so good. There's a lot of little voices in my head asking me what I was doing here. All I could concentrate on was my achy knees, and it felt like I couldn't take any more steps. Once we got to the second break, I really didn't know how I was going to continue on, which is sad, because considering it's day one.
Despite their fatigue, another back-breaking job must be completed. Each time they set up camp, blocks need to be cut from the ice to use as windshields for the tents. Additional blocks are fashioned into temporary latrines.
Look at that wall, it's like frickin' Lego.
God, that's cool. Dinner includes entrees of high-caloric cheese and pâté.
That was some good trekking, though.
The soldier team is so exhausted, even the 24-hour light doesn't stop them from falling asleep within minutes. As they spend their first night on the ice, Demon stands guard in the midnight sun, protecting the camp from roaming polar bears.
Check it out. We're on the surface of the moon.
The team is still adjusting to this stark landscape after their first night's sleep on the ice. Because of the flight delay and ferocious windstorm, they only managed 15 kilometers on day one, putting them behind their goal and under pressure to make up the distance.
So we'll try and do good days the next 2 days of good weather. Try and put in some miles.
Today they aim for a 30K push to the next camp, double what they accomplished yesterday. It will be a test of physical and mental stamina. The uneven terrain is grueling. The team has to traverse heavy snow which covers pack ice. With their poles sinking into the soft surface, every step pushes them to their limits.
That's true.
While members of the soldier team clearly struggle, faster skiers from the larger group pass them by. David Quick assesses the situation.
The terrain was extremely challenging, and as a result, some of the soldiers fell behind. That gap in space impacted several of them both emotionally and physically.
For a trained soldier, it's all about the collective. No man ever leaves another behind. Pushed to the limits of stress and fatigue, Bruno vents his frustration about this to David.
So this is going on?
I don't think it's that off.
People at the front are pushing, are going, or they're going. And they're not thinking about the guys who are at the back and suffering, and they keep on going.
We're seeing people are starting to struggle, and people just going by. They're just going by because they just think they need to get to the pole. But it's about getting there together.
What if those two people over there can get injured?
The thought of a wounded soldier being left behind provokes anger in Bruno. It takes him right back to the battlefields of Afghanistan.
It just kept on compounding and compounding, and I lost my stuff, right?
Why should we get busted on the second day?
I think that, everyone's just going on their merry way.
That's what's pissing me off right now.
Well, what we have to do is just put some discipline in there. So we'll tweak it a bit.
You shouldn't get separated. People are going by, they see people struggling, and they go around it.
You just blow up, and you just got to let it out. That's what people mostly notice about PTSD is when you lose it.
The beauty, my friend, is we'll still get there.
It's about getting there together. I thought that was the whole point of the expedition.
You gotta let it settle down.
Here's definitely.
The thing about post-traumatic stress, it's an invisible wound, so you don't know where you're poking it. And so a lot of times, little things become really big things.
Dave came over and he tells you a couple of words and that calms you down. You know you're not alone. And you know, the next day it'll be me doing it for him, and that's the beauty of it, right? It's what we go through.
I always say that you don't want to let the sun set on an argument. The beauty up here is the sun never sets. So we're going to have a word tonight, and we're going to work through this issue so that we get to the pole as a team, and we're going to do that starting now.
So far, there are no smooth trails on this journey. Pulling the 50-kilogram sleds over broken ice and snow the rest of the day is a long, hard slog to camp. 8 hours, 30 kilometers, job done. But still, the task of making camp must be tackled before the team can get warm, get fed, and get rest.
Now this is the way to travel. Got some lovely ladies pulling.
David calls his soldier team together to address today's problems.
We are leaning on one another probably more than we thought, which is really great. And there is no rank and file here. And I know it's frustrating, okay? I need you guys to shape things from within. I need you to lead from behind, okay, in the best way you can. And I need you to keep focus here in the next couple days. And we haven't checked in enough, okay, as a team, but you know, we're gonna do this together. And I'll make sure that the civilian team does it with us. So there's no rush, okay?
Roger that.
I'm here to figure things out, how to be tolerant, how to be patient, and how to not get to that point. You know, you don't want to yell at anybody, and nobody was, the people that weren't there weren't the cause of it. Something I need to work on, and that's why I'm here.
But while the team prepares for a good night's sleep, Richard Weber receives a disturbing weather report.
They're calling for 90-kilometer-hour winds, but we will go and see what happens.
This new problem will take its toll. With 24 hours of sunlight, the team begins to measure time exclusively by how much distance they have already skied and how much further they still need to cover.
Here you go.
Today's goal? Another 30 back-breaking kilometers. The route takes them over a nasty stretch of pressure ridges. These are caused when massive sheets of Arctic Ocean ice, driven by currents and weather, collide and freeze together. The result is unwieldy ice formations protruding from the surface of the pack ice. Navigating them is treacherous. It is particularly punishing on Bjarne.
Because of how difficult that terrain was to traverse, man, it was a bit of a bag drive. It's supposed to be a challenge. It's supposed to be tough.
Bjarne's fellow soldiers take turns pulling him all day.
No, keep going, keep going. Pull, 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 pull. When you're going down the sit ski, you'll want to lean over. So like with my stump, I've only got a few inches from my hip. So trying to leverage that and maintain position is pretty tough. Thank goodness always got someone giving me a hand. The best part of my day was having guys come back so quickly, willing to switch up and, you know, and support me.
And with another 30 clicks knocked down, the team meets today's goal. The team is equally thrilled by tonight's campsite, a sheltered peninsula valley.
We left at like 10:30 this morning. It's now 6:15, so that's a long day of sitting in a chair. You know, if it wasn't for these guys, holy cow. It's a long trek.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's a long trek.
Bruno.
My boy.
Boom.
Thank you.
It was good. It was a hard day today, buddy.
That was a hard day.
It's a long, hard day.
Everyone's having a tough time, and you know, but you're stronger together, and you never have to be alone to do it.
Profoundly exhausted, Bjarne and his teammates pack it in for the night. In 6 hours, the marathon begins again. Deep into their Arctic expedition, the team sets out on the final leg in their journey to reach the magnetic North Pole. But trouble lies ahead.
It's about 60 kilometers to the Mag Pole. And we've got a storm coming, so we'll see what happens.
This threat spurs them on to finish another 30 kilometers even faster than yesterday. They haven't made it this far just to get trumped by the weather. The expedition makes steady progress throughout the morning. But the unrelenting pace to beat the storm takes its toll on Shaun.
Thanks, I'm starting to feel nauseated again.
Okay. Take a break of that. Just nauseated, she said. Have you eaten?
Well, I just think I'm not drinking enough, so I'm just feeling a bit nauseous.
This is a pretty common phenomenon, what's happening. You know, you've got some folks that are out of their elements. Not only do the elements bring them down, but the discomfort. Shaun is having some challenges, and both physically and emotionally right now. And I'm gonna pay attention to her, and I'm gonna give her a little bit more support. And then what's happening is your body's obviously generating a lot of heat, and it's consuming. Although when we get back, we'll just start pounding back some electrolytes.
When there's nothing else around you but the same landscape and the sound of your feet crunching on the snow, it's hard not to listen to the voice in your head saying, you know, this kind of sucks. So it's just really working through that and telling yourself that, you know, yeah, it kind of sucks, but it's, you know, it's cool. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Yeah, see, I told you, I didn't lie to you. It'd be a lot worse. We have each other, at least. Yeah.
And Dave's kind of like my big brother out here, and he's helping me out quite a bit.
Everything's better with Dave. Let's go, Shaun. Let's race to cocktails. You're buying tonight.
Another 30K completed, and the exhausted group finally arrives at their destination for the day.
What's up, sister? How you doing? Looking pretty good. Everybody's looking good. Good workout all around, everybody. Only you.
How's it going, buddy?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good job, team. Great job. The walk's easy. I think the time by myself is not what I was ready for. I got 20 years of baggage to drop off at the pole. I didn't want to go uber dramatic here, but I obviously care a lot about what I used to do, more than I thought I did. The strength of the military transcends the individual. And the reason why, you know, I was successful in uniform and while my soldiers were successful is because we could count on each other.
You know what the best part of today was?
Okay.
Crossing that finish line. Knowing, seeing that flag there, then crossing it. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you help me hop into the tent?
Absolutely.
I love my profession very deeply. But now I'm on my new track, right? My new path. You know, I got a guy ahead of me. B's got one leg, and I've been chasing him for 3 days. So although it's pissing me off a little bit, he's motivated me to keep going.
I'm so tired, and my feet are killing me. They're burning, and I just have to suck it up and get there.
Tomorrow, it's the North Pole. It's gonna be over. I think I'm nervous about that. Nervous that we won't be doing this anymore. I think I'm kind of sad about that.
Definitely some nice scenery out there.
I'm pretty concerned about the weather, Certainly when I look at the morale of the team, if we can get to the pole tomorrow and push to get there, I want us to do it. I know they're tired, I know they're hurting, but we'll get there because we're soldiers.
There you go.
Thanks, everybody.
Mes amis.
Cheers.
Hey, cheers.
Okay. Cheers, everybody. Dave, cheers.
They have 25 kilometers to go to reach the pole, unless a storm stops them first.
I'm just doing last-minute equipment check. Just like you would before a para jump. So you're ready to go, and we'll get there. I'm really excited.
The team is ready. With victory this close, it's now the final big push to beat the storm and conquer the magnetic North Pole.
At one point along that last leg, as we get to the North Pole, I'm gonna throw my leg on and I'm gonna ski that finish.
You know what? This is actually what I needed. It showed me what I needed to work on, and I'm working on it.
For so long, I've kind of restricted myself and let the voices in my head tell me that I couldn't do stuff and I wasn't, you know, worthy and good enough for experiences like this, and here we are.
With less than 2 kilometers to go and their objective in sight, the team pauses.
I'm looking forward to celebrating you. Just
1.7 kilometers away.
Baby, yeah.
We're so close.
Yeah.
So close.
It's a very cathartic moment. I've been dreaming about this for so long, and it's right there. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention here! The plan for this point onto the pole is we're gonna stay together. And the intent will be that the soldier team will lead onto the pole. So B's gonna determine when it's time to stand up and ski. And then we'll escort the soldiers onto the objective. Roger so far?
Roger. Roger.
Listen, be proud of yourselves. That was not an easy day. That was not an easy week. Once upon a time, we were soldiers. This last weekend today, you're polar explorers. And tomorrow, you will be that much better. The sea of red in front of us, on the landscape of white, is very much symbolic of where you're heading right now. Weave yourselves into the fabric of this country and make a change for people like B and yourselves. You are all fantastic Canadians, and what a great way to end this day. So fall on your kit, cover off, B, take your position. Good, B.
Stop.
Woo.
I just want you guys to know that if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have made it. Thanks, guys. Let's go hit this North Pole and own it.
I made it. Cheers. You know, all the resources and everything that surrounds us makes up 49% of all the rehabilitation. All the effort, all the family, the doctors, the supporters, the friends, the family. You know, I have to bring the 51, but one hell of a 49% they were to get me here, to bring that 51 out of me.
It's been an amazing experience to be here with everybody, and it's just been an amazing time.
So we made it. And Mommy just made it to the North Pole, so I'll be coming home soon, okay? I love you.
This maple leaf was given to me by my daughter's grade 2 class to carry with me to the pole and then to leave up here. It's just been really amazing, the amount of support from everybody back home, and you know, it's really overwhelming, and it's really so appreciated.
It's always about getting there together, right? You make the trip together, you make the journey together, you finish together. It's about that. It's not about you, it's about the others, right? And if everybody thinks like that, then we'll make it. Everybody will make it.
For the entire trek on the ice, Bjarne has carried with him the ashes of his friend Bob Gilmore, a Canadian ski legend and Bjarne's greatest mentor.
Bob Gilmore gave me the inspiration to ski again. He taught me how to downhill ski, you know, so dropping him off was my way of saying thanks for all that he's done. He said this great quote to me one time. On her tombstone is the date of her birth and the date of her death. What matters most is the dash that lies in between. So if it wasn't for all that he'd done, for that great dash that he had made in his life and the impact it made on me, it was just wonderful to be part of this journey, knowing that that was gonna happen, because I owe it to him.
We're really proud of B, really proud of Bruno and Shauna. And I was equally proud to spend a few days with the soldiers and listen to their stories and know that we're going to be just fine. And you know, there's a lot of soldiers that have fallen and a lot of soldiers that have bled and a lot of soldiers that haven't come home yet. And I think we still need to make that discussion open and help them.
I know it was tough, but you did it.
I'm just happy that I made it and I was able to share that. Not just with the people here, but hopefully everyone out there that gets to see it. Because we all look for inspiration somewhere. We take everything in, and you know, things that work well, we tend to hang on to the most, and what's treasured the most.
You made it.
Made it.